As Hurricane Dorian continues to move along the East Coast, we are tracking the widespread damage and power outages in South Carolina. The eye of Dorian passed within 55 miles of the city of Charleston, bringing heavy rain and wind gusts of more than 70 miles an hour. And at least 150,000 homes and businesses in the state are without power. So Jamie Yuccas is with us now from Charleston. Jamie, we knew, the damage was going to be pretty bad in Charleston. The ground has been saturated, as you can see behind you. Lots of trees. When you've got wind and rain and trees, tree branches come down. What's it like there now?
Well, I can tell you, we are in historic downtown Charleston, and you just described the conditions perfectly for yesterday. Obviously, today, a much different story. This street in downtown Charleston was covered in water. You can see there's just some remnants now on the sides, and that's kind of what this entire area looks like if you're driving around. You can hear somebody, though, with a saw back there. That's because there is so much debris on the ground at this point in time. You've got lots and lots of tree limbs all over the place. And, of course, these beautiful streets are canopy lined with trees. So a lot of leaves and other twigs ended up falling into the ground. So it's all about cleanup today. I had one gentleman walk past me a little bit ago, and he said, wasn't as bad as we thought. That's the good news. Now, as you go further out, there were a number of trees that the ground was saturated. They ended up falling down. You also had some power lines because of those strong winds that came down. So that's kind of the big story today, and the frustration that people are still dealing with is that there are about 140,000 people this morning without power.
All right. Well, I mean, that is actually pretty good news, right? That they have now moved on to the cleanup phase. But as I understand it, there were also the possibility of 2 tornadoes people say may have touched down. Any damage from that?
That's from where we are right now. I'm going to move out of the way because you have people now starting to come back home. Mandatory evacuations lifted in 3 different counties here in South Carolina. So what you're talking about in terms of the tornadoes, that is still the roughest part of the state right now. And you're talking about places like Myrtle Beach and Little River. There were a number of mobile homes that got either shaken off of their foundation, roofs torn off, or they were destroyed. So we had crews up there yesterday taking a look at that. Of course, they're going to have much bigger cleanup in that area than we do here. And that's probably the majority of the damage now in the state, besides these trees down, those power lines. I also want to show you there's a lot of places here in Charleston that when you're walking around, now that we don't have a car coming, where there are street signs and other utility poles and things like this, where the winds came in at about 70 miles per hour and just pushed everything. But as you can see, and the building next to it, the windows are all okay. So we didn't have a lot of glass breakage, that kind of thing. It's more just these street signs and other utility poles that ended up kind of getting knocked over during the strongest parts of the storm yesterday.
I mean, if anybody's been to that area of town, it's a really, really pretty area.
I got to back up again. Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Last thing we want you to do is
car coming. That people are moving around.
Right. We don't want you to live through a hurricane and then, find yourself in trouble because you're in the middle of traffic. But anyways, it's a very pretty area of town. It's almost like sort of postcard pretty. It's nice to see that the damage has not been extensive. People are coming back, as you've pointed out. What does it look like in terms of recovery for this area? Or maybe people don't know yet because they're just kind of arriving back home.
Well, that's what you're taking a look at. Actually, that's what's happening right now. We've seen 3 or 4 different trucks, and you can notice that these are all big vehicles. People got out of town. They heeded the evacuation warnings. A lot of people stocked up, went inland. Now that those mandatory evacuations in 3 counties have been lifted, you're going to start having people come back into town. I actually think I hear an airplane. I know the airport was supposed to reopen at 7 a.m. Eastern time this morning. So people will start coming back into the area. They'll be checking things out. A lot of crews try to just push the debris to the side. So if homeowners want to come back and start cleaning it up, that's what they'll be doing this morning. I've also heard a number of chainsaws. You can see this is one of those historic, beautiful areas of Charleston with those big old homes. A lot of them have courtyards in the back, so they'll be cleaning up the debris, probably having to use those saws to get the limbs and things off of some of the other porches or maybe wires or things that are in their backyard. So that's going to be happening around Charleston today. But it's actually, it seems like it's pretty good news. People are coming back. I've noticed a lot of utility crews too and landscapers as they're driving by. They've got the big extension on the back with lawnmowers and that kind of thing. So it seems like people are coming back ready to get to work on cleaning up.
Indeed. Jamie Yuccas, thank you so much.
Yeah.